Chris, you gotta give me some room. Damn, I mean, you're beautiful and all, but can a bitch get some space? Shoot. Okay. We're gonna hope this is good, where I am. Okay. Hi. Hey, hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess, and this is kind of a wrap-up. This video is really like last minute off the cuff. I was planning on just posting something else tomorrow and playing The Sims, and then Origin was like, no, we gotta update. So I threw on this pullover and I put on some lip gloss, and I was like, I'm gonna film. The lighting's not great, whatever, we're just doing it, okay? Maybe I'm having too much caffeine. So, it is the end of October. Yeah, it's literally Halloween today. I know this is so weird for me to have a wrap up this early, but I knew I was not going to finish any more books. It's Friday, the day before. So I say this is kind of a wrap up because it's not going to be normal. And it's going to be like this for October, November, December. So we're getting towards the end of the year. Obviously, you guys know at the end of December, a lot of people do a lot of videos like my 10 top books of the year, 10 worst books, all of that. And I also will be doing those, but then I also have my challenges that I challenge myself, like my 20 books I want to read in 2020, series I want to finish this year, and a video I made about a week or two ago of all the books, like my end of year TBR, so to speak, has a bunch of books on there as well. So if I felt like if I updated you at the end of October, November, December, as usual, then it wouldn't really be that interesting to at least watch my challenge wrap-ups, because you would know if I had or had not completed those books. So I did read 8 books this month, I think 7 or 8. So I'm not going to tell you every book I read this month for the next couple months. I'm just going to highlight a couple that either were really great, or maybe they were meh and I was really hyped about them, or I just really want to talk about it. So obviously I would talk about A Deadly Education, but I did a video on that, which I'll link up above if you haven't checked that out. And we know my feelings with that. I was upset. So another book that I was really excited to read was Pure Nessie, and I did read that by Susanna Clark. I have not read her other book, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. That book is a behemoth, and I never really had interest in that one, but this one sounded really interesting and was short. It's like 240 pages. So I don't know how to talk about it without being spoilery, because it's so short that I feel like too much will give it away. But it's essentially, Pure Nessie lives in this world that is a house. The house is the world. The house seems endless. There's just all these halls that just keep going. He hasn't discovered all the house. There's levels, like the bottom is the ocean, the middle is where he lives, and the top is like the clouds. And there's these endless halls with statues and birds, and Pure Nessie just wants to explore and learn all the things. And I don't want to say anything else because literally it will get into spoilers. And the reason I'm talking about it is because I'm still processing whether I really liked it or it was just okay. I didn't hate it, that's for sure. It was definitely interesting to read. I've never, like I said, I didn't read her other books, so her writing's very interesting. And I've watched a couple of reviews. There aren't that many on YouTube, and I've been just trying to process what the book was. Like, did I read it and I was like, eh? Or did I read it and I was like, oh? Do you know what I mean? Does that make any sense? And I'm trying to decide, because I did get it from the library, if I want to buy it, because I almost feel like I want to reread it, because I'll discover more things now that I know how it ends, but that I also, maybe I need to reread it because maybe I missed something. I don't know. It's definitely Nigel. Hi. Hi. Okay. It's definitely not a terrible book, but I'm just trying to feel like if I felt like it was good or great, and I'm confused. I have to process some more. So if anyone has read that book, please let me know below. Can we talk about it? I'm like, and it's one of those that doesn't have a concrete ending. Like, the character is here, this is what happened, this is why. Like, you do get a conclusion, but there's still things where you're like, is that real? Or am I thinking, or I know this is super vague, but it's literally such a short book. I read it over like 2 periods. Like I started one day and finished the next. But there's also a lot within those pages. So I'm just like, what is happening? So again, if you've read that book, please let me know your feelings down below. Someone please talk to me about this book. I just don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. The next book that I was anticipating was To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini. So I have not read his Aragon series, but this one sounded really interesting. I thought it was a standalone, but I feel like I heard someone said it may be a series. I don't know. For now, it's a standalone, I think. But it's like 850 pages, science fiction, and adult, because his other book was, is that middle grade, young adult? So this book started off so strong, and I was loving it. But then I was also worried, Nigel, but I was also worried because stuff started popping off so early in the book, and I'm like, we're only 100 pages, we're only 50 pages in. There's still 800 pages to go, so I was very worried about that. And this is not going to be spoilery, but my biggest issue was that very thing, the pacing. Because it starts off really hot and heavy and it keeps going for a while. And I'm not going to say that it gets slow, but it keeps going and keeps going and keeps going in areas where I feel like he could have cut back some of the parts, because it's essentially this girl Kira in space. Like, this is years later where we've populated space, and so she's a xenobiologist. She's working like on this different planet, and something goes, she basically is like first contact with the alien, and something goes terribly wrong, and so she ends up not with her crew anymore, with this other ragtag group that's on basically like this space pirate ship, and they're doing things. There's space battles and missions that they're going on, and at first is really great, him explaining how they're like traveling faster than the speed of light and all these things on the spaceship, and her and this organism alien they've come in contact with, and the battle that's going on. And then it's like it keeps going and keeps going, and I'm like, okay, I feel like we could have condensed this. It's hard to say without being spoilers, but it's just like, at first, the first couple times the battle happened, it made sense to give us play-by-play of what was happening, to explain all these different things and weapons and machinery and all the players in the battle. But every time, I feel like we didn't need that, and he did that every time. And then there are multiple journeys where they're traveling for months at a time, but it's like faster than the speed of light, so they're going into, what's it called? We're like in a little, what's it called? In science fiction things where they go into a little thing and they're like, and it goes, and they go to sleep for a couple, cryo. They go into cryo. And so it doesn't like go daily through the months they're in cryo, but it's just like, by the time we're doing this third trip, we still don't need to know as much detail as he gave. And so I feel like if the book could have been condensed in those areas and been shorter, I would have enjoyed it so much better, because the first 50% I was really into it, and then even another 10%, but then it started to feel like, okay, is there going to be a conclusion? Is this going to climax? Because it feels like every other couple chapters is a climax where it's like, oh my god, okay, oh my god, okay. And I just started to feel like, is this over yet? And I hate feeling like that, but I just was like, get to the point. What is going to happen? How is this going to end? And by the end of it, I was just annoyed. So I think I gave it like 3.5 stars. I think the start is really strong, but it went on entirely too long to me. And in the beginning, I was really into the characters, but for that length of time, he really didn't develop them that much more. So then past a halfway point, I was like, okay, I'm not really learning anything new about the characters. I'm not falling in love or connecting with the characters any deeper than I was on the first 25%. So I don't know. I would read another, if it did become a series, I would read the next one. Or if he does write another adult science fiction novel, I would read it. Wasn't terrible. It just could have used some trimming down majorly and some more character development. But overall, it was still a good read. And then the last book that I want to talk about this month is All That Remains, and it's by Dame Sue Black. So she was a professor of forensic anthropology at the University of Dundee in Scotland. And this is the book I mentioned, I think, after I read the book by Caitlin You know who I'm talking about? I forgot. Dang it, I forgot what it's called. The one about her life in the crematorium. I read her memoir, and then someone recommended me this book by Sue Black. So she was a professor of forensic anthropology at this university in Scotland. I'm very interested in this subject. And after reading this book, I'm like, this is my life calling. I know that sounds super weird, but I loved it. She talked on, so I guess this is kind of memoir and then kind of just about death and forensic anthropology also, because she talks about like growing up, her relationship to death. She started work in like middle school or high school at a butcher shop. So like she's just always been kind of close to death. And then she studied anatomy in school, and then, you know, eventually went on to forensic anthropology. And so it was just really interesting listening to her talk about all that, her experiences with, you know, death of her family members and her relationship with the idea of death as well. And then because the University of Dundee, I think, is where a lot of people donate their body to science there. And because it was recently renovated, like their anatomy place where they have their anatomy lab, and they were talking about all these different, like, I want to say aquariums, but that's not the right word, tanks where they put human bodies that they study and work on in the anatomy department. And then after this, I was like, am I going to donate my body to science? Because before this, my plan was I want to be a tree. So I would like to be buried with like the seeds for a tree, and then planted, obviously, so that I can give back to the world, but also throw shade for eternity. Like, how fitting is that? But I was like, I want to donate my body to science. The only problem is they usually cremate people after that. So I'm gonna have to talk to them and be like, look, you can use my body for science, but then I need you to make me become a tree. I'm just saying. But it was extremely interesting. So if you have any interest from Caitlin Doughty, is that her name? Wow, I'm blanking. Any of her stuff, her YouTube channel, her books, or you're interested in forensic anthropology or death and anatomy, this would be a really good book. I am literally got on Google and I'm like, how do I become a forensic anthropologist? And yeah, I'm intrigued. So I love that book. I think it was one of the best I read this month, but those are the only books that I'm going to talk about. And so I'm sorry if this was a really weird wrap up, because it's not a full wrap up, but I don't want to give away all my secrets on what books I did finish this month. Did I finish Words of Radiance? I don't know. You don't know. That was part of what I read for the month of October. I wouldn't say it was an overwhelmingly amazing reading month. I did read more than I thought I was going to, because To Sleep in a Sea of Stars took me like 2 weeks, but then I was on a mission to read a bunch of short books, which I did accomplish. So I'm happy about that. And we'll see what happens with November. But again, if you haven't watched my daily education video, I'll also link it below, because I did a non-spoilery and then a little bit spoilery review of that. Please let me know if you have read Pure Nessie, or if you had any amazing reads this month. Are you close to completing your 2020 goals? Because I don't feel like I am, and we don't have that much longer left. I promise I am working on that unpopular opinions video. I just keep forgetting to film it. So, hey, Tuesday is election day. Do not mail in your ballots. It is too late for that. Please go drop them off, or you're voting in person. This is it. This is it, people. Please vote. And please take care of yourselves and stay distant. Wear your mask, wash your hands, stay hydrated, stay moisturized. Here in Italy, the cases are going up, and they just closed some things on base again. The gyms are now closed again to us lowly civilians, so that's disappointing. And it just, I mean, this is nowhere near over. So please do your part to try to minimize the spread of the Rona, because she is the fucking worst and she's ruining everything. But other than that, I hope you take care of yourself, and I thank you for watching this video. Please check out my description, where there's always links to my social media, Nigel's social media. I have links to the books that I talked about. I am an affiliate with bookshop.org, so if you did buy a book through my link, I would get a small something from that. So thank you in advance if you do. Don't feel bad if you don't. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye! I'd like to thank you for sitting through this video and looking at my raggedy ass braid that was sticking out. I apologize. Now I gotta edit this too. Is that finished updating? Oh, Jesus, got time. I'm ready to play The Sims. Night, y'all. Okay. Okay. Oh, my weave. Oh, my weave. Oh, child, you got my weave. Okay.